Hey, we're here. We made it. Welcome to the first ever episode of The Dribble, where we take a closer look into the Boston Celtics, the rest of the NBA, and basically anything else that might come up. My name is Luke Irwin. I'm your host, and I'm really excited to get into it because the opening week of the NBA has come and gone. The Celtics, the new look Celtics, look new. Do they? We'll talk about it. A six-man starting lineup, all things Celtics. Then, when you hear this sound, that means we're done talking about the Celtics, and we're going to talk about the NBA a little bit. I'm going to dive into the new rules. The NBA is laying the law down. I'm also going to talk about Hope's Hotel. I'll explain later. And a few other things. So much to get into. And I suggest we do. Because this is The Dribble. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Celtics. The new look Celtics, obviously, we gave away Marcus Smart and Robert Williams, who are two fan favorites. Me being a fan, they are favorites of mine. I'm going to miss them for sure, but it looks like we replaced them with potentially better pieces that they were. Okay, game one in New York, which is a tough place to play with no chemistry. I thought we looked really good, and I thought our pieces looked really good. We do have a couple of issues that I think need to be addressed, but we have plenty of draft picks that I think that we can address with those draft picks, because I do think we do need to acquire a few more people to really be that next level team. Honestly, one of our past problems that I wanted to dive into first was our late game execution. Late game execution is the killer. It's killer for a lot of people, but especially us with all the talent we've had around the pieces that we've had. And I thought it was very interesting. Jaylen Brown had something to say before the season even started. This was right before the Knicks game. He had a quote that I thought really stuck out. When asked about what makes this new group of players different than the group that we've had in the past years, he said this. He said, "We've been real clear with our roles. We're real clear in what we want to get accomplished. We're clear with what actions we want to get into late game, 2-for-1 situations, 3-for-2 situations. We've been able to establish exactly what we want to do down the stretch." And I think it's funny that JB had that quote, considering that in the fourth quarter, Jaylen Brown had a total of 0 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter. So apparently that's not the action that he wanted to get into down the stretch, which is fine, because the reason that this new look Celtics works so well is because who would have been Robert Williams in that late game actually was Kristaps Porzingis, aka Porzy, aka Zing Zing, aka the Latvian Leviathan. Shout out to my brother Max for that nickname. But I'm going to keep calling him Porzy. I love Porzy. I love what Porzy's given us. This guy's a monster down the stretch. He can shoot. He stretches the floor. He's big. He obviously can get in the middle. And then late, the pick and pop play that put us ahead, the go-ahead basket by Porzingis, the three from Tatum. Tatum doubled up high. Again, typically that would be down to Robert Williams. And what would have happened typically is Tatum would have been doubled. He would have gotten it out to Robert Williams. Robert Williams would immediately dish it to that corner three for Jaylen Brown. And I'm sorry, but Jaylen Brown didn't shoot a single field goal in the fourth. I don't think he would have made that three. Okay? But instead, Kristaps Porzingis shoots it. Even if Porzy misses that shot, that causes the defense to have to rotate because he was hitting it all night long. And even if he's not hitting it, he's taking it all night long, which is so different. He's taking it all night long. I just realized that I just said Porzy is taking it all night long. He is. I would take it from Porzy all night long. Okay, let's move on. I mean, look at his numbers here. Porzy has 30 points, 8 rebounds, no assists, but he didn't need to. He had 4 block shots in this game. 4 block shots to start off. Again, in the Garden against Julius Randle. Julius Randle was afraid to go inside because of Porzingis every time he was on the floor. And for every Celtics fan who was sitting there thinking, oh, what are we going to do? Guys, Rob is gone. Our interior defense is going to totally suck, dude. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because Kristaps Porzingis, if healthy. I said if healthy. Are you not listening to me? I said if healthy. Shut up. If healthy, we have tons of rim protection with him in there. Him and Al Horford in there, that double big lineup is scary. There was a couple times in the preseason that they simultaneously blocked a shot together, and I don't know. I never saw him and Rob do that. So 4 block shots in this game, and then obviously the 30 points, most by a Celtic since Dominique Wilkins, well, more than Dominique Wilkins. Dominique Wilkins is number 2, and number 3, of course, is Kledgy Hermson. I'm the Leggy Cledgy. We all know Leggy Cledgy Hermson, the legend of the Clegend. Cledgy Hermson from 1951. So, I mean, Dominique Wilkins, all-time great. Cledgy Hermson, the Leggy Cledgy, all-time great, 1951. And then, of course, Kristaps Porzingis rounds it out. And then other than that, he also, by the way, Porzingis led us in plus-minus, which is a huge bump. Jaylen Brown didn't have the best game, but that's okay. Again, we don't need him to. He had a pretty well-rounded game, 11, 6, and 5. Not bad. Everybody was in the plus except for Luke Cornett. But again, the Gardens is a tough place to play. Opening night, the Knicks were pretty competitive last year. The fans are ready to go. They hate Boston. I think he played great. Obviously, the one thing we need to look out for is health. But I mean, if he can stay healthy, I honestly, truly believe that he is the key to this team. And I know it's going to sound great. Obviously, Tatum is the key. But without Porzingis, because we got rid of Rob, and we have no size past him and Horford, really, I do not trust Cornett. Cornett got 8 minutes in this game against the Knicks, and honestly, it felt like he had 48 minutes in this game. I could not stand him on the floor. I love Luke Cornett. He's fine. He's been with us for a while. But, I mean, come on. He didn't know where he was. He was setting picks. He was turned around. Every time he caught the ball, he didn't know where to get it to. He was just a problem. And then defensively, they went down his throat. And the Knicks really aren't that big of a team. And it was a problem. But the Celtics have 6 legit starting basketball players on this team, which is huge. And when I say legit, I don't mean like they could start on the Pistons. I mean, there are 6 players on this Celtics team that would start for, I think, almost all 30 teams. Okay? Obviously, you have Tatum, Brown, Holiday, Porzingis, Horford, Derek White. I think our backcourt is amazing. Our front court is really good. The starters, at least. We do have a depth problem in the front court. And I thought one lineup with having Horford come off the bench was really, first of all, Horford coming off the bench, I think, is the right move. It's the only move. Al Horford's amazing, but he's older. It's a good way to restrict his minutes, and it's also a good way to have him work with the bench. But also, I think Joe did a really good job in the first 2 games with lineups. I only have one issue with the lineups he chose, but I'll get into that. But one of my favorite bench lineups or bench starter merging lineups was PP at the 1, Peyton Pritchard, shout out, extension. Hauser at the 2, Tatum at the 3, Al at the 4, and Porzy at the 5. Yeah, I'm going to call him Porzy. Okay, just if you don't like Porzy, just get used to it. I'm going to keep calling him Porzy, okay? But I love that because it's a lot of shooting around Tatum. Tatum has become a much better playmaker, and then you have Al who can pass, but every single person on this floor is a threat to shoot. PP will shoot you. Hauser, that's all he does is really shoot. Tatum, obviously a threat. Al Horford, sometimes he gets hot and it is unstoppable. He's definitely a threat. And then, of course, Porzy, I already explained it. He's out there on the 3. He's going to take the shot. He's at least going to drag the defense out, and he's been shooting it well so far. I think that's a really, really good lineup, and what you can do is you can trade Tatum for Brown in that lineup kind of seamlessly, which I'm really excited about. Like if you were to put Tatum for Brown in there, and then one of the guards, Peyton Pritchard or Hauser, replace him with White or Holiday, I mean, it's incredible, even though I do like White and Holiday out there together. Just Holiday in this game, unbelievable. Look at this graphic here that I'm going to put up. Randall, 1 for 10. Jalen Brunson, 0 for 4. RJ Barrett, 1 for 4. That's a total from the Knicks' best players, 2 for 18. That's 11% when Drew Holiday was guarding the Knicks' best players. Yeah, that's Drew Holiday. Okay, Drew Holiday is an absolute beast. Game 2 against the Heat. Just gonna say this: I hate the Heat. I absolutely hate playing the Heat. We won 119-111. It was a tough game. In the beginning, I wanted to throw my drink across the room. I could not stand it. Again, I love Jimmy Butler. He does a great job, but I hate playing the Heat. They give us trouble every time, and I just know that they're going to be there in the end, which, a little sneak peek to my tier rankings that will come up in a little bit here. So no Cornett. Since we were just talking about Luke Cornett, no Cornett. He played 0 minutes. We did not out-rebounded them, 55-45. So we had 10 more rebounds, and we didn't play our third big. 10 more rebounds. than the Heat did. Field goals were pretty even in this game. 3-point percentage, the Heat obviously shot 50% against us because that's what the Heat do against the Celtics. They shoot 50% from three, and it's you can hear how much I love playing the Heat. They shot 50% from three, but I mean, again, the important numbers. We out-rebounded them by 10. More importantly, we got 5 more offensive rebounds. 5 more offensive rebounds, which is huge. And I'm going to credit some of the out-rebounding to not playing Cornette. I'm sorry to be hating on Cornette so much, but I am. But also, I would love to give some credit to our man Brissett. He played really good. Brissett gives energy where we didn't have it. Honestly, what Brissett reminds me of somebody who would have played on the Heat. Like, he is always going after loose balls, seems to always just disrupt, muck things up. People always say that about the Heat. They muck things up. The Heat, they muck things up. Brissett mucks things up. He's a pest. I love Brissett. He's a pest, and we need a pest. We had a lot of people who are very passive. Like Marcus Smart, you could call a pest, but he was too good to be a pest. You need somebody who, you forget about him, because you don't forget about Marcus Smart. He's on the court. You know where he is. You mark him. He's Marcus Smart, right? But we needed somebody like Brissett, who's an unknown, or at least not somebody that the other team is going to really pick up on, to just disrupt things. And he did that. And I thought, even though he didn't have the greatest game, he didn't make that big of an impact as far as stat sheet wise. I thought that he played great as far as making the other team watch their back, which is really all we need. Next in this game, I really want to talk about White Holiday. It was on full display against the Heat. The White Holiday tandem, the White Holiday special was on full display. White feels like the leader in the backcourt. Maybe Drew might take that over, but White honestly feels like he is now the leader. I think he knew Smart left, and he has to be the vocal guy. Bald Derek White is the vocal guy. Obviously, Holiday shined, but in this game, White shined. And I don't just mean because his head is bald now and that was shining off of the bright lights of TD Garden, but he played amazing. I mean, look at this graphic of the White Holiday special. Right, Holiday, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block. And that block was a big block. I think it was on Jimmy Butler. It was a big block. But that's almost a triple-double. That's really good, especially having our guards being able to rebound in the double digits is huge, especially given Tatum's up in rebound numbers. I mean, it's huge. And then obviously White, 28 points, breakout game, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks, and what makes it even sweeter, all 3 blocks were on Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy. It is not the playoffs yet. It is game 1, so he is out to get blocked. I want to talk about Tatum's expectations, my expectations rather, for Tatum. Obviously, Tatum's expectations are crazy high. In the Heat game in particular, in the first half, he was bodying people. He was straight up taking people into the lane, spinning, elbowing them, getting an and-one. The post-up game is what I want to see more of, because he's going to be able to see the floor in the post-up game, and he's going to be able to distribute, because I know he wants to be more of a playmaker. He's going to be able to distribute, get the ball out, couple dribbles down low in the post, kick it out. He had a great pass to Holiday. Him and Holiday have actually been playing fantastic. He had a great pass to Holiday that was, he had it up top. He catches on the high post. Holiday sweeps through, takes the defender. The defender kind of goes up towards Tatum to double, and Tatum does a wraparound pass right away. It was a beautiful pass right to Holiday. And so I think that if we post Tatum up more instead of having him take it at the top of the key, I'm really excited to see what that looks like. Obviously, still have him take it at the top of the key because, I mean, that's kind of what he does. But I'm looking forward to that. I think he can have an MVP caliber season. He is not my pick for MVP. I will share my pick for MVP in next week's episode, but I do already have that solidified, and it is not Jason Tatum, even though I do hope that he obviously is MVP, and I think that he can become MVP. And then lastly, before I wrap things up with the Celtics, I would be remiss if I did not mention at least that Joe Mazzulla is an interesting coach. I really believe in him. I think Brad believes in him, and clearly Brad has great taste in basketball IQ. So I really want to believe in him, but I mean, opening game, the first game, he had the weirdest coaches challenge I've ever seen. We were up by 11, and he decided to challenge an out of bounds play in the first quarter with 3 minutes left. Again, up 11. Didn't make any sense. It was 2 people. It was also a very 50-50 ball. Could have gone either way. We lost the challenge, lost the timeout, and just then didn't have another challenge. So it was just a weird thing. I know it's game one. It doesn't really matter. But you get those cobwebs out in the preseason. Don't get them out when the games actually matter, especially New York-Boston rivalry. We'll see the Knicks down the road. So I didn't like that challenge. I hope it's not telling of things to come, but I didn't really like it. But other than that, I think I think his rotations were really good. The lineups were really good, and I'm happy to see kind of where he goes with a lot of those. But yeah, I just hope Joe can, not second row Joe, but first row Joe. I'm going to call him first row Joe. No longer second row Joe. He's first row Joe. I hope he can kind of wrangle that in. Oh, all right, that's the sound. We are done talking about the Celtics. Enough Celtics, Luke. Shut the hell up. We're going to talk about the NBA. Okay, we got a lot going on. I want to talk about my tier list, people's title hopes. I'll mention that in a little bit. I also want to talk about the new NBA rules. The NBA, the league, is really laying down the law. What are they doing to change some things, make the game a little bit better for fans, and a couple other things that I want to highlight for the upcoming week. But first, I got to pay the bills. A word from our sponsor. Take it away. This episode of The Dribble is brought to you by Ja Morant's Gun Collection. Feeling like your team is getting too many wins and building on a solid foundation towards franchise prosperity? Looking for something to halt all of that right away? Well, look no further. We have Ja Morant's Gun Collection. Get your hands on one today and post it to IG Live, and you can see results of 0-3 records within 1 week. Yeah, it works that quick. Pretty crazy. So get started. Don't wait. Call 1-800-IG Live. That number is 1-800-IG Live to get started today. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Okay. All right, got myself a glass of wine, Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc Merlot. Today, when we're talking about the rest of the NBA, I want to start with my version of an NBA tiers ranking list, which I call the Hopes Hotel, which is basically where I rank all the teams based on their title hopes. Hence the name Hopes Hotel. And this ranges from teams hanging out in the parking lot, no hopes, to teams hanging out in the penthouse, high hopes, right? So I'm really excited to reveal this. There are only 12 rooms in the inn, so vacancy is limited. Let's get started. First, let's bring up the overflow parking. This is the parking lot. Right now it is vacant. I'm about to reveal my teams that are in the overflow parking lot of Hopes Hotel. These teams have no hope for me right now, as of right now. Let's go ahead and reveal the teams. Okay, great. So we have the Chicago Bulls, the Rockets, the Pistons, the Trailblazers, the Hornets, the Wizards, the Raptors, and the Nets. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Some of these teams don't deserve no hope. I mean, no hope means no hope. No means no. However, this tier list is, as Stephen A would say, it is fluid, okay? These teams, I want them to move out of the parking lot. They're stuck in the parking lot, hanging out. I want them to move into the Hopes Hotel. I want them to have an opportunity. I just don't see an opportunity. The Chicago Bulls had a player meeting the first game. After the first game, they had a players meeting. That's crazy. And this is the thing. You might be looking at this like maybe Ben Simmons, right, from the Nets, will learn how to shoot. Through the first 2 games, it looks like he's still afraid to shoot the basketball, but there's a chance that in the season, he turns into what he was supposed to be, and the Nets will find their way into Hopes Hotel. But for right now, these teams are in the parking lot, okay? And if you want to try to make an argument for any of them, I'm really interested in that. I know the Raptors have good pieces. I'm not saying all these teams are just trash teams that have no hope and are completely bad and have no value. I'm just saying that as far as Hopes Hotel goes with the title hopes of the team, none of these teams, none of them have true title hopes. I mean, don't try to tell me otherwise. Okay, so let's reveal the hotel itself in all of its glory. Here we are, and okay, so this is Hopes Hotel. For people who are not watching and they're just listening via podcast, this is a beautiful hotel made out of cartoon shapes that I made myself, and I'm really excited about. The 2 Larry O'Brien trophies at the top next to the penthouse, because the penthouse, to me, are the 2 favorites. You have the lobby is the bottom floor, and in the lobby, it's people who have not gotten rooms, but they're actually in the hotel. They're waiting. They're talking to the front desk. They want a room to try to vie for the Hopes Hotel suites. Then above that is the standard rooms. Above that's the suites. And then, of course, the penthouse. For penthouse, there will be 2 teams every single time. And those 2 teams, they don't always have to change. But those 2 teams will always be 1 East team and 1 West team. The reason I did that is because at the end of the day, there will be one East team and one West team vying for the championship. Always. There will never be two East teams. There will never be two West teams. So I'm always going to have one from the West, one from the East up in the penthouse. Okay? So let's get started. Let's show the lobby. Okay, so this is the lobby. I have the Cavaliers, the Thunder, the Hawks, the Jazz, the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Magic, the Spurs, and the Pacers. You might be wondering why the Spurs are on there. The Spurs are on there solely because of Wemby. San Antonio has an alien. He looks pretty good in the first two games. Not amazing. He has a lot of learning to do. But with a guy like that, a prospect like that, I'm going to just put you in the lobby, all right? You're in the lobby. All these other teams are exciting, obviously. You have the Kings. They're great. People might say, whoa, they should have a room. But 12 rooms is not a lot, okay? The Kings, I do see in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, getting themselves in a room, replacing one of the other teams. But right now, the Kings are in the lobby. They're talking to the front desk. The Grizzlies, they're 0-3, as we heard from our sponsor, okay? So, I don't know. They're missing a lot of players. They could be in a serious deficit as far as games, which could put them in a bad position, which could have them playing the Nuggets round one. I don't know. I don't put them in a room. I have them still in the lobby, even though I know they have talent, but I have not been impressed so far. The Timberwolves, if Anthony takes a leap, they will get a room. I think Ant-Man is the bomb. I think he's so good. If he can take a leap and Towns and Gobert can finally learn how to coexist, then I think that they will get a room eventually. But for now, they're in the lobby. Jazz were frisky last year. They shouldn't be good, but they were frisky. Lauri Markkanen's great. Can't complain about that. Obviously, the Hawks, they're there. You just can't put the Hawks in the parking lot. How could you? The Hawks are good, but Trae Young is Ice Trae. He can do what he does, but I just don't think they're going to get past the lobby. I have a feeling the Hawks are going to be a lobby team for the rest of the year. Then we have the Cavaliers. That's the best way I can describe them. You know what I mean? So that's how I describe them. And then OKC, young talent. Shea is the man. I think if he takes a serious leap, which he's going to be in the MVP voting, I bet. If he takes a serious leap, Giddey takes a leap. They have Chet Holmgren. If Chet can stay healthy, then they're going to find a room. Because I love their young talent. They're in the lobby, but they might be the first talking to the desk. I think I really want to put them in a room, but for now they're in the lobby. So those are my lobby teams. And then the Pacers. I didn't even talk about the Pacers or the Magic. I do. I think they're frisky. Okay, let's get into the meat of it. Let's go into the standard rooms, the first floor. Boom. Okay, first floor. We have the Pelicans, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Mavs, and the Clippers. Let's go through them. The Pelicans. The Pelicans only keep this room if Zion stays healthy. That's it. If Zion stays healthy, they keep this room. And they might go to a suite. They really might go up one floor. But for right now, they're in this room. If Zion plays, they stay here. The next is the Knicks. The Knicks are feisty. They need one more star. If they can make a trade, they have picks. They have stuff to give. If they can make a trade for someone big, maybe even a Joel Embiid, because obviously he wants out of where he currently is. So I'm not saying, but I'm kind of just saying. 76ers, gosh, I want them in the lobby. I don't trust them. As a Celtics fan, we've beaten them every year. I have no fear of the 76ers, but you got to respect Embiid, MVP, great guy, great player. And they got some good pieces. I actually really love the Kelly Oubre pickup. And then you have the Mavs, Luka, who... my goodness, let me tell you about Luka. I think I don't love his defense, but I think he's going to have a huge year, and I think Kyrie's actually going to be consistently playing almost the whole year. I know. Call me crazy for saying that, and I'm probably going to take them down and put them back in the lobby in like December, but for right now, they got a room. And then the Clippers. If Kawhi and Paul George, and it's been the if forever, but if Kawhi and Paul George can stay healthy, they might even get a suite, because, they're so good, and they have pieces around them. They've played so much. They have chemistry. Okay, let's get into the real big boys. Let's go with the suites. Bang! The Bucks, the Suns, the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Heat. Everybody wants to write the Heat off. And earlier, like I said, I hate playing the Heat. I hate... Luke, put the camera on me. I hate playing the Heat. I already said it a million times, but I'll say it a million times more, and their fans are going to love me saying this. But I hate it. I hate the Heat, but you got to respect them. They've been to half of the finals in the last 4 years. I mean, come on. You cannot tell me that they aren't right there. They were in the finals last year. I know they lost some pieces, but it looks like from the other night that they've gained pieces that can do just the same thing. So with Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy, and Bam, if they're there, I have them in a suite. Lakers, obviously, don't need to say much about them. AD, LeBron, I really like a lot of their pieces too that they have. Hachimura is really great. And obviously you have Austin Reeves, who is great. I think that team is going to be a contender when it comes down to it. They might need to make a trade. I think they should get rid of D'Angelo Russell, but who am I? Okay, obviously Golden State. Anytime you have Steph Curry, he is my favorite player to watch in the NBA. Anytime you have Steph Curry, you're going to play good basketball. That's just the long and the short of it. So Golden State, Phoenix, way too much talent. And I actually love Eric Gordon as a pickup. I don't like Grayson Allen. I think he's a waste of basketball space. Sorry, dude. My bad. But I just think that. I don't think he's a good basketball player. Maybe he can muck stuff up, hurt somebody in the playoffs. That seems to be his forte. But I really like the pieces around the Suns. If they can stay healthy, I know Booker is already out and so was Beal. So if they can stay healthy, they're going to be really good. And then finally, the Bucks. Look, the Bucks, Nuggets, Suns, and Celtics are really vying for that penthouse spot. Okay, this is going to be probably a weekly in and out, in and out, in and out. The Bucks look really good, but I'm worried about their defense. Yeah, Damian Lillard had 39 points in his debut. Cool. He's Damian Lillard, okay? But the other team scored a lot too. Their defense is going to be lacking where it needs to have some serious pressure, especially against teams like the Suns if they were to meet in the playoffs or meet in the finals, or the Celtics, who are going to be a pretty high-powered offense. So I'm curious to see what happens there. Let's go ahead and reveal the penthouse. The only two teams missing, bing, the Celtics and the Nuggets. And you're probably thinking, Luke, you're a Celtics fan. You're a homer. Of course you put the Celtics in the penthouse. You know, I put the Celtics in the penthouse because it's week 1 and it's my fucking show. So I can do whatever I want. And yeah, I put them there, okay? They might move. Like I said, the Bucks will probably move up next week, depending on what happens, even though the Celtics have a pretty easy schedule. But yeah, I have them as the two teams with the highest hopes. They are chilling in the penthouse, champagne on the rocks. So that's Hope's Hotel. Tune in every week to see what happens, who moves up, who gets a room, who gets kicked out of their room for partying too hard or whatever it might be. Let's talk about one last thing. I want to talk about the new NBA rules. We'll just go over them real quick. The first thing is resting players, which is really interesting. In order for players to be eligible for end-of-season awards or all-NBA awards like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, or make all-NBA teams, you must play at least 65 games, which is kind of insane. I mean, it's awesome. I love it as a fan. We're going to see a lot more of the stars, but that's amazing. And you can't just check in for 5 minutes. You can't, or 5 seconds. You can't just check in, check out. Oh, look, I played the game, NBA. No, they're going to count that. They're not going to count that. They're going to look for that. So you can't just walk in and walk out. You're going to have to play 65 games. And look, first of all, I love it. Okay, people pay for tickets. I've been to games where stars have not played, and I've paid $200, and I don't make that much money, and that sucks. Like that really sucks. Also, I think it's going to create a more competitive culture. Honestly, I think it's going to create a more competitive culture. And the last thing that I think actually has a real league impact is what happens when certain players who don't play 65 games don't make the All-NBA team. That allows for younger players to make the All-NBA team. And when you make the All-NBA team, you're eligible for larger contracts. So that means certain players are going to get more money out of the cap hit. And it's going to change. Like, people who may not quote unquote deserve more money are going to be eligible for more money. And it's just going to be interesting. Like, some young buck who's durable and plays a lot of games is going to make the All-NBA over LeBron James, because LeBron James is probably not going to play 65 games. So this guy's going to get his spot, even though LeBron James probably deserves it more. It's just going to shake things up, give young guys a chance. And again, I think it's going to raise competitive nature. I think a lot of people are going to play harder. They're going to know that this is what they need to do. And it'll make for an interesting playoffs too, because instead of just resting these star players to have them fresh and ready to go in the playoffs, we'll see real teams going at it. And it's all about how your team actually plays basketball that will, turn everything out. Also, in the resting, teams cannot rest more than one star player in the same game. And a star player is defined as someone who has been to an All-Star or All-NBA or any of the previous 3 seasons. That actually accounts for 49 players in the NBA, which fits into about 25 different teams. So those are the people who are affected. 49 players across 25 teams. None of these players are allowed to sit out or rest on nationally televised games. So anything on TNT, ESPN, ABC, they can't sit out. Finally, there's also no long-term shutouts. So you can't shut down a player for a long period of time. For example, last year, the Portland Trailblazers were terrible, and so they shut down Damian Lillard. You can't do that anymore. You can't shut down Damian Lillard. You can't shut down anybody. Even if you have no hope of even reaching the playoffs, you can't do it for health. You have to have them play. No long-term shutdowns. Again, I think it's good. Play the game. You get paid so much money to play the game, and I know it's easy for me to say. But if you're hurt, don't play the game, obviously. But if you're not hurt, people don't make as much money as you. They go to the games. Give them a show. Just play the games, all right? The load man. Just play the games. Okay, just play the games. That's all I'm saying. Just play the goddamn games. All right, the next one is the flopping rule. Love this. Players can be assessed a technical foul, which will be treated like a technical foul. They get a free throw as you would in a technical, but it doesn't count towards an ejection or your overall technical foul accumulation towards the end of the year. But I like it. It will be interesting to see how certain defenders like Marcus Smart and others kind of navigate it, because the art of flopping, so to speak, is kind of an important part and a huge part of defense, and has been forever. And the final rule change is the coaches challenge. They instituted the coaches challenge only a few years ago, but now they're doing, if you have a successful challenge, if you fail, you don't get it, but if you have the successful challenge, you get an additional challenge, an additional green light special, which I think, again, is just good. You're rewarded for your good eye, for your coaching, and for your coaching staff, because a lot of people actually use their coaching staff. It's not much the head coach. It's actually what their coaching staff sees to determine if they're going to do a green light special. So yeah, those are the new rules. We're going to dive more into some other stuff next episode, but for now, I'm going to sign off. Before I do, I'm going to just give you some games to watch, games that I see that are interesting in the upcoming week. So we have on tonight, actually, the Heat at the Bucks, which is a round 1 rematch. That's at 8 p.m. We have on November 1st, we have the Lakers versus the Clippers. Battle for Los Angeles, always fun. That's at 10 p.m. And then on the same night, November 1st, we have Pelicans at Oklahoma City Thunder. A lot of young talent in that game. I think that's just going to be an exciting game. There's a lot of young, spry. It's going to be a lot of dunking. There's going to be a lot of dunking and a lot of stuff to see. It's going to be fun. And then finally on November 3rd, the Nuggets versus the Mavs. And this is just for me. Obviously we know what Luka is, but can the Mavs hang with Big Brother? Can the Mavs actually beat a team like the Nuggets? Can they hang with a team like the Nuggets? That's at 10 p.m. And then Celtics games the rest of the week. We have tonight, Celtics at Wizards. We have on November 1st, Pacers at Celtics. And then on November 4th, we have Celtics at Nets. 3 pretty uninteresting games, to be completely honest. Pacers, Wizards, and Nets. 2 of those teams were in my parking lot of Hope's Hotel. One of them was in the lobby. So we'll see how it is. Hopefully this is a time for the Celtics to gel together and actually work with each other and build some chemistry and try out some new things. I hope Joe tries some new lineups. I hope he plays some more Brissett. I really want to see more of that PP, Hauser, Tatum, Al, and Porzy lineup. So yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for listening or watching or whatever you did. Like, subscribe, comment, all the things for weekly Celtics breakdowns. And it's been a pleasure. This has been The Dribble.